And our last story comes from the Navy, and it just sounds like something straight up out of a movie. Basically, a few years ago, this guy got caught kind of bribing Navy officials and like making things in ports move and giving officials naughty things to try to get them to do things for him. Just some general run-of-the-mill corruption stuff. And the Navy does not have a lot of corruption, so when this all came out, it was a very big deal. It's literally the biggest corruption scandal in their history, because the U.S. military does not really play with corruption. Anyways, he got convicted and cut his ankle monitor and fled in a U-Haul truck. Man behind U.S. Navy's largest corruption case hires a U-Haul, cuts ankle tag, and flees. Fleeing from the United States military seems like a dumb idea, but also, how did this guy hire a U-Haul truck without anyone who's supposed to be watching him having any alarm bells start to ring? He's on house arrest. I feel like there should be a system where if someone on house arrest starts hiring a U-Haul, you at least go over and ask them what they're doing. It's not like they can move or anything. I don't know, it would just seem weird if the guy who literally can't leave his house started renting a car. I just feel like that might make me think that he's about to maybe try to leave this whole house arrest situation. His unassailable charm was said to have penetrated the US Navy better than the Soviets ever could, and he gained unprecedented access to classified information through a massive bribery network. Now, Leonard Glenn Francis has pulled off yet another daring feat, successfully escaping house arrest just weeks before he's set to be sentenced for masterminding the Navy's largest ever corruption scandal. Man, I feel like you need to be paying extra bonus attention to people on house arrest when they're about to be sentenced for something that's a very big deal. Obviously, now that he's been convicted and he's going to be sentenced for the biggest bribery scandal in Navy history, he's aware that they're going to throw the book at him. Like, duh, the Navy can't really go light on a guy who just got caught with their biggest corruption scandal either. I think that might send the wrong message. Oh, whatever, this guy ran the biggest bribery scheme in our history. We're just going to give him 1 year in prison. They have to throw the book at him, and they should throw the book at him. I feel like military corruption is an absolute no-go. Like, that needs to be shut down. Look at the effects it can have. Look at Russia. We just know for a fact that a lot of their military companies, a lot of their generals were just pocketing a lot of the money. And now they've been so underfunded, everything's falling apart. Like, corruption in the military just completely destroys a country, so you can't really go light on it. But it also makes sense that if he was ever gonna cut the ankle monitor and run, it would be right now, before he gets sentenced to jail for a very, very long time. He's already an old man. Chances are, if he goes to jail, he's staying in jail, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Security at Francis's house was lax. Tom Wright, the co-founder of journalism studio Project Brazen, who interviewed Francis at length last year for his podcast Fat Leonard, told Vice World News. The fact we were able to smuggle a microphone to him last year for our podcast, and right after that security on his house remained weak, is very strange. In 2020, an inspection found no one guarding the house for 3 hours when the on-duty guard was out at lunch. With the way they're making it sound, I'm kind of surprised he didn't try to make a break for it any sooner. The guards just leave for hours at a time. Oh, whatever. It's not like he's gonna cut and run. He's got nothing to lose now. He's been convicted of a very serious crime. If anything, he's got nothing to lose to try to run because he's already going to jail anyways. What are you gonna do? Make him go to jail for an extra 10 years for trying to escape on top of the 60 years he's gonna get? I think it's probably worth the risk for him, especially because the guards weren't even police officers or a federal crime unit or military police. It was a private company, but the guy they were guarding was who hired them. That kind of seems like a conflict of interest. Here this guy is being accused of bribery, paying people to do things they shouldn't do, and you're gonna let him hire the guards that are supposed to watch him. I wonder if maybe he would try to bribe the guards to look the other way while he did an escape. We don't know that for a fact, but the fact no one thought about that this guy's definitely going to be willing to bribe the mall cop standing in front of his house. And if he's so good at bribery that he was getting naval officers to accept it, I think mall cops are going to be a bit easier. Arrested in 2013, Francis pleaded guilty 2 years later to offering $500,000 in bribes to Navy officials, though he was never sentenced. In 2018, the court allowed him to live under house arrest due to health issues. which included kidney cancer. From then, he stayed in a multi-million-dollar home nestled within a gated community in San Diego with his 3 children. The house was guarded by a private security company to ensure he didn't flee, but was paid for by Francis himself, the San Diego Tribune reported. It's unclear if his children were still staying with him when he escaped on Sunday. Man, that just seems a little weird. Convicted in 2013, not sentenced until 2018, while being allowed to be on house arrest in your multi-million-dollar mansion. Oh, and your security guards are the security guards that you're paying for. So for all we know, homie has just been living the good life with the guards saying, yeah, he never leaves. He might have just had the ankle monitor cut and sitting at home for all this time, strapped to the dog, so just that way it's moving around the house. Maybe sets up his ankle monitor on the Roomba just so that way when the police make sure it's been moving, it's all checked out. I don't know, something about this smells a little fishy. I'm not gonna accuse anyone of anything, but just how do you let a guy that's admitted to bribing officials with $500,000 stay at a mansion with a security team he's paying for and just not really even sentence him for 5 years? The entire thing just smells like a pile of fish, in my opinion. But obviously, I'll never know the details of it. Like, this is all gonna be pretty hushity handled. Now that he's escaped too, it's even more embarrassing because it's always going to be that question of, was corruption involved in this? Especially if he's already admitted and been convicted of bribing people with $500,000. If that's a bribe, then he's probably got a lot of bands stacked up somewhere else. Who knows how long he can be on the run? But as long as he's on the run, it's always going to be a question of what happened. Any little sus detail is going to be like, well, obviously they shouldn't have let him do that. I don't know. Overall, I don't think he's going to be on the run for very long. I feel like the U.S. military is one of the people that you would want to run from the absolute least. I would never want to run from any law enforcement agency. I feel like I wouldn't be on the run very long. But I especially would never want to be on the run from the FBI, CIA, or the U.S. military. They got a whole lot of budget. What is it? Like 60% of the United States budget goes to the military. They're going to be using a whole lot of resources to track you down, especially when it's something that's embarrassed them, like you being the most corrupt person they've convicted. They can't just let you bounce out and go hide off on an island somewhere. They've got to track you down. Otherwise, everybody's going to be like, did they even try to catch him? This whole situation just seems like something straight out of a movie, though. It doesn't seem like something that would actually be going down, but welcome to 2022, where we're living in a movie storyline. On that note, though, guys, I think that's going to do it for this week's Ryan Rants. It's longer than the last one. Maybe if they continue to do better, they'll get longer and longer. Thank you for helping me name the series. If you like this, please be sure to like and comment, because this channel's pretty dead. So every like and comment really does help it get further and recommended. So if you don't mind doing that, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, on that note, I'll see you guys all next week. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm out. Peace.